The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, arrived in Shanghai not just with a diplomatic agenda, but with a deeper purpose, an ambition to strengthen economic ties and rekindle a relationship with China that has been through its share of frost and fire. As he stepped onto the stage before a room of business leaders, he was clear, composed, and unmistakably focused. This wasn't just about handshakes and photo opportunities. It was about strategy, substance, and stability. He spoke of partnership. He spoke of mutual respect. He spoke of the power of trade to bind nations not just economically, but diplomatically. There were no slogans, no fireworks, just an Australian Prime Minister ready to engage with one of the world's most influential leaders. Constructive conversation, those were the words he used to describe his hopes for the meeting with President Xi Jinping. Carefully chosen, deliberately diplomatic. A signal of intent, not naivety. This meeting, due to unfold tomorrow, carries the weight of years of mistrust, tension, and shifting geopolitical dynamics. From tariffs and technology to foreign interference and human rights, the list of sore points is long. But Albanese didn't flinch. His tone was respectful yet assertive, aiming to reset the tone without forgetting the past. And as Albanese faced the global stage, back home in Australia, a different kind of scrutiny unfolded. Jim Chalmers, the Treasurer, found himself at the heart of a domestic storm, not one born of malice, but of bureaucracy. An internal advice document, intended for eyes only within the Department of Treasury, had found its way into the public domain via the ABC. An accident, undoubtedly, but the impact, significant. The document offered insight, raw, revealing insight. It didn't pull punches. It suggested, in no uncertain terms, that the government was falling short of its ambitious new homes target. And just like that, Chalmers was forced to respond. He didn't deny it. He didn't deflect. He conceded, publicly, that more needed to be done. That targets were aspirational, yes, but they were also falling short of the practical machinery needed to deliver them. For a government that has spent much of its term talking about cost of living pressures, housing affordability, and rental crisis management, this moment was sobering. It's one thing to promise, another to deliver. The gap between rhetoric and reality had been laid bare by a document never meant to see daylight. Chalmers' tone was calm but cautious. He acknowledged the shortfalls, but also pointed to initiatives underway. Funding streams, incentives for developers, deals with the states. The machinery was moving, he insisted, but perhaps not fast enough. The broader picture, though, tells of a government balancing international diplomacy with domestic necessity. On one hand, Albanese in Shanghai, extending a hand of trust to the Chinese leadership, hoping to expand Australian exports, rebuild cultural ties, and inject confidence into the trade relationship. On the other hand, Chalmers, in Canberra, trying to convince Australians that the promises made on housing were not drifting into the realm of the impossible. There's a symmetry in it, even if unintentional. Two fronts, both critical. One global, one local. One rooted in the language of diplomacy, the other in the urgency of housing waitlists and construction starts. The accidental leak of Treasury advice may seem like a minor administrative hiccup, but in the world of politics, perception is power. Australians who've been priced out of the market, stuck in rentals, or squeezed by rising interest rates didn't need a leaked document to know that more homes are needed. But now, that silent frustration has official confirmation. It also adds pressure on Housing Minister Julie Collins, pressure on the National Cabinet to push housing deals harder, and pressure on state premiers to show results. Meanwhile, in Shanghai, Albanese is not walking into a straightforward meeting. The Australia-China relationship has been complex, especially in recent years. Trade sanctions, diplomatic freezes, mutual suspicion, and yet, through all that, the resilience of the economic relationship remains undeniable. China is Australia's largest trading partner. The stakes are high, not just for exporters, but for students, for farmers, for tech companies, for universities, for tourism operators, and more. And so, Albanese's calm tone is no accident. This isn't about grandstanding. It's about results. If trust can be rebuilt, even incrementally, the impact could be transformative. But no foreign policy success can paper over domestic unease forever. The housing issue strikes at the heart of everyday life. It's not theoretical, it's lived. In the cost of rent. In the wait for public housing. In the anxiety of a mortgage rate hike. Australians don't just want answers. They need action. So, while Albanese dines with business leaders and prepares for his high-stakes meeting, he carries not just the weight of national interest, but also the watchful gaze of citizens back home who are juggling groceries, rent, and rising bills. Chalmers, for his part, knows the stakes too. Conceding the need to do more is just the beginning. Australians will want specifics. They'll want timelines. And they'll want results. And yet, in all of this, there's a rhythm to governing. A day in the life of a government that stretches from international summits to internal leaks. From speeches in Shanghai to spreadsheets in Canberra, the headlines may focus on China. The primetime clips may come from Albanese's handshake with Xi. But the story of Australian politics this week is also being written in local council approvals, in planning departments, in housing starts that either begin or stall. It's in the belief, or disbelief, that governments can set a goal and actually reach it. For now, all eyes turn to tomorrow's meeting in Shanghai. The optics will matter. The statements will be parsed. Analysts will dissect the tone, the body language, the content. But back home, the conversation won't wait. Australians will still be looking for rental listings. Builders will still be navigating delays. Councils will still be managing zoning battles. And the government will still be answering one of the oldest and most urgent questions in politics: can you deliver what you've promised? In a 24-hour news cycle, moments fade fast. But for the Albanese government, the combination of global diplomacy and domestic delivery will define not just this week, but this term. There is no separation anymore. What happens in Shanghai echoes in Sydney. What is said in Canberra resonates in the classroom, in the kitchen, at the construction site. Tomorrow, Albanese will speak of trust, of shared futures, of partnerships. And Australians, at home, will be watching both sides of the story, what we do abroad, and what we get done here.